Shalom, 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 shalom. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakak Radash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who teach and rule well. Peace and salutation to the whole elect scattered abroad. That's how I doing this working truth and sincerity. I'm Brother Bach from coming at you with another lesson, man. You know, Lord willing, this lesson edified to the hopeful elect. Today I wanted to go into it's the wrong time to hold grudges towards your brother. You know, it's the wrong time to be holding grudges towards your brother, man. You know, you see the times we in, you know, scriptures say, you know, measure the time diligently in itself, right? So while we still holding grudges, man, we almost out of here. This is First John chapter 4 and verse 20. It says, if a man say, I love Yahweh, and hateth his brother, he is a liar, for the loveth not his brother, whom he has seen. How can he love Yahweh, whom he had not seen? You know, you see your brother every day. You go to war with your brother, man. So while you have, you know, hateful intentions towards your brother, you know, and, you know, you never seen Yahweh Shem Yahshai, man. You know, so you can't be around your brother and hate him and still say you love the Lord, man. You know, it says, well, he is a liar. I'm gonna go to 1 John chapter 2 and then verse 9. It says, he that said he is in the light and hateth his brother is in darkness even until now. You know, you can't have you shouldn't be having any ill will towards your brother, man. You know, we all in this thing together, man. We're one big body, man. We're not saying brothers can't have disagreements or, you know, brothers can't get offended. But, you know, if you offended, you should go tell that brother, man. Tell that brother how you feel. You know, we're men in this thing, man. You know, you have to be a man. You know, women, they wanna get in front of a crowd and make a big scene about it, man. You know, that's what women do, you know, because you know how women can get. But as men, you know, we must have that composure, you know, and go have a conversation, man. You know, it ain't gotta be a public conversation. You know, you had a private conversation with your brother. You know, you make up, you get over it, man. You know, because we in these last days, man. You know, all hell about to start breaking loose. It ain't no need for, you know, holding on to grudges, man. You know, the same, you know, brother that you was holding a grudge against, that brother might get you out of jail or out of situation, you know. It says, verse 10, it says, he that loveth his brother abideth in light, and there is none occasion of stumbling in him. You know, we all we got at the end of this thing, man. You know, because scriptures say, you know, your family gonna turn on you first, man. You know, your so-called blood brother. You know, your mama. You know, scripture also says, you know, a man's foes is of his own household. You know, so you should be loving your brother as yourself, man. You should be loving your brother before your family, before your kids. You know, you love your brother as yourself. You know, it says verse 11. It says, but he that hateth his brother is in darkness and walketh in darkness, man. You know, that's you having that hatred in your heart, man. You hating a man of the Lord. You know, that's out here doing the same thing you doing, making the same sacrifices you making. You know, you see how that works, man. You know, you having ill will towards your brothers that's doing the same thing you doing. You don't want your brother to make it on the chariot. You know, it says that knoweth not whether he goeth because Salaki, because that darkness has blinded his eye. You know, and that's what it would do, man. You know, they say, you know, hate to eat you alive. You know, that's what they say in the world, man. That hate will eat you alive, and it'll consume you. You know, so how much more having hatred on a man of the Lord that's doing the same thing you doing? You know, it's not the time for that, brothers. You know, we should be all striving, you know, to make it on that chariot, man. To do the works of the Lord, of you, to do the works of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai in truth and sincerity, man. That's what we should be focused on right now, man. You know. I'm gonna go to the book of Ephesians chapter 4 and verse. This is Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 26. It says, "Be ye angry and sin not. Let not the sun go down upon your wrath." You know, don't hold that don't hold that grudge, man. You know, you need if you have today's problem, you know, you should focus on today's problem, man. If you have a problem with, you know, a brother, you go and address it today. You don't still hold that hate and anger, you know, to the next day, because the next day can go to the next day, you know, and so on and so forth, man. You know, then that causes tension in the camp, man. You know, you don't want that to happen. You know, we have to always be humble, man, you know, and put brothers before ourselves, right? It says, "Be ye angry and sin not." You know, just because you mad, you know, you don't go making rational decisions like women do, you know, when they get mad. You know, they let their emotions get the best of them, man. But we're men, you know. You have to have your emotions in check. You know, no matter if you mad or not, man, you keep your composure. And you don't go doing, you know, sinful lust and things of that nature, you know. Go to the book of Matthew. I'm going to close it out with this. I don't want to make this lesson too long. This is Matthew chapter 22, verse. This is Matthew chapter 22. I'm going to start at verse 37. It says, "Yahweh Shai said unto him, Thou shalt love the Lord thy power with all thy heart, and love and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. This is the first and great commandment. And the second is like unto it, Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself," man. Love your brother as yourself, bro. Not your actual neighbor. Your brother, man. The man you go to war with. You know? Every single weekend, you know, brothers in your camp, man. You know, love your brother as yourself, man. Put your brother before yourself, man. You know, that's what it's about, you know, being your brother's keeper, man. You know, you see that a lot, man. On these army videos, man. Or I watch a lot of army movies, man. You know, they always will say, you know, be your brother's keeper. You know. So what, man? We must be our brother's keeper. You know, the true men that actually believe, you know, standing right beside you. You know, you got their brother back, their brother got your back, man. You know, that's a part of the body. You know, we all help each other out, man, for the greater good. you know. But that's pretty much all on this lesson. Oh, Lord willing, you were edified. Until next video. Shalom.